like we were saying just a few minutes ago, and
Mm-hmm.
you're showing me your art, and I think it does come through on your platforms. You are very analytical and process oriented and systematic,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you have that creative eye. You like visuals. You like that artistic element
Mm.
of life.
Yeah.
So, in your words, how do you summarize what you do?
Okay. So what I do in simple, the most simple form I could say is I build brands. I'm a builder of brands. So what I do is I use research, I use strategy, I use storytelling, I use visuals and art to help people transform their business into a brand that their customers would really, really love and adore. And when they get that brand, now it will help the bottom line of their business. It's really to help businesses, entrepreneurs. I like to work with solo entrepreneurs, mainly early stage, to really let them set that foundation that will really profit in the long run.
And you said something there, translate or transform that business
Mm-hmm.
into a brand.
Yep.
So, and then you said a second part as well, which is that helps them be more valuable
Yeah,
or
the
I don't know,
bottom line, improve the bottom line. Yeah.
improve the bottom line. So two parts of that. So the first part, what do you see as the difference between a business and a brand?
Okay. And this is one of my favorite things to talk about, Ashana. Okay. So, in my opinion, a brand is really a construct, right? It's what your customers, what your clients, how they perceive the business. So, when a group of people or the majority of your target audience have the same perception of your business, that's when you arrive at a brand. So, a brand is really something that's intangible, but it's something that you can influence when you understand your target audience and you understand how they think about things, how they go about their lives, what impacts them. So now the business is basically the anchor and the foundation, the framework that supports the development of that concept that's known as a brand. So your business is more the structural, the operational, how you how you how you manage your resources, is the more the functional elements. So when I work on the business and then we work on how that's going to support and translate into creating a brand, there's a lot of things that go into it. It's really a cohesive and comprehensive activity when we talk about branding.
And how does that translate into um, boosting the bottom line?
Right. So definitely when you do business, you're not doing business in a silo, you're not in isolation. You your customers make your business at the end of the day. And once you are able to attract your customers, they now would basically kind of feel ownership into your business. They would want to take part in it, they would purchase, you will get repeat customers, repeat clients, and that so you wouldn't have to be struggling to make that connection. So once you have that brand that people love, that the customers will come. The customers will come because you have designed and you have catered to them.
So, in terms of business, you said you like to work with persons who are solopreneurs and early stage
Mm-hmm.
business to set the foundation. And I love
Yeah.
that because foundation is everything in life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know there's some persons who watch my channel who, well, quite a few of them have businesses already,
Yeah.
but I know some persons are thinking of starting something and thinking about different ideas and what are the things that they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I just created this scenario for the
Mm-hmm.
question. If there was someone who said, it was 2021, in 2020, I think we saw in 2020
Yeah.
that persons were, um, there was a lot of uncertainty in terms of
Mm-hmm.
employment, businesses. So persons started to tap into their skills and see what they have to offer
Yeah,
is something that they have more control over, perhaps.
definitely.
So persons might now be thinking, okay, well, I know a good number of persons would have started businesses last year,
Mhm.
and some persons will probably still be thinking about that. So if somebody wanted to start a business and have a business by the end of this year, what
Yeah.
are some of the things you would say to that person?
Okay. I would tell them to sit back, take a moment, and think about. I have a few questions that I usually ask people to reflect on when they want to start. So think about, who are you? What do you offer? Who do you serve? And then why should they care? So when you sit and you think about these questions and you really have clarity about them, you kind of get focused into what it is you really want to build. So, because I never advise people to just jump into business, just leapfrog like that. You need to sit back and have a strategy, have basically create the framework for what you want to build, because you're not operating in business in isolation. You need to understand how the market works, understand the market conditions, understand basically how consumers are behaving. Because look at COVID last year, how consumers would have behaved prior to 2020 and how they're behaving post 2020 could be different. So you need to think about that. Look at the competition, do some research into your competition, understand what's out there, what's the choices that customers in the field that you're thinking about, what they would have. And then understand, okay, where do you fit in into that landscape. So really, they need to just think, sit back. I know sometimes it's really exciting when you have business ideas and you really want to just get out there, but sit and reflect and have a plan of action. You don't even need a big full-fledged business plan, but if you simply break down, and I like the business model canvas for this, you really sit and you break down what it is you want to put out there and what makes you special, and why would people care, and why would people want to do business with you. Once you really sit and get that down, it gives you a platform in which you could launch and launch successfully.
Okay. And how long do you think that process might take someone, whether you look at it in terms of
Mhm.
hours, days, months, how much? I mean, I think it might vary from person to
Yeah,
person, but
yeah,
what do you think is a kind of reference point for maybe the hours or
yeah. I think,
time to kind of
yeah.
think about it?
Definitely, it would vary based on the industry you plan on entering, because some industries are a little more resource intensive, whereas like some services like me consulting, doing graphic design it's less resource. The barriers to entry are pretty low. So you can sit, and if you really structure yourself and sit up with a good solid week of deep planning, understand, because I think information is a little easier to come across now with the internet. So if you're in like a service oriented field, you could sit, take a week, take about a month if you want to really be sure, and really look at everything that's out there, put everything together, and come up with your launch plan.
And you said that you worked at UE prior to
Mhm.
starting your business.
Yeah,
And if you could talk a little bit about what you did there and
yeah,
how it kind of assisted you in terms of
yeah,
moving to this next step, which is your
yeah.
business.
So I worked at UE from I think 2012 to 2015. So what I did, I was in the Department of Management Studies because that's what I studied. I studied management, tourism, business. And while I was doing my master's, I would have worked as a research and teaching assistant. So research was like basically my love. I loved research. I got published. I really, and I was, and so what I used to do was research, help my lecturer with publications, do interviews, do a field work. Then I used to also teach. So I would lecture, do guest lectures to the undergrads, sometimes the postgrads. And teaching is something that I always loved. And I actually, my lecturer was trying to really get me to really stay in the UE system, to stay, do the PhD, start to lecture. And it's something that I still want to do, but I've always said that before I do any further studies, I want to get in there and really get into my field. And while I'm not actually working in tourism, I'm still in business. I'm still doing research. And actually, when I started my business, it was mainly market research and then business strategy. But after working with a few clients, I realized that that was so intense for just me to try to do. So I same thing. I had to sit and reflect as to the direction I really wanted. Because when I started, I had clients coming for research. I was booked, but sometimes while you're successful, you're not really fulfilled. Yes. So I, while I'm still doing research, I decided, okay, I wanted to streamline it more. So I'm not offering pure research. I'm merging that into every, so I kind of looked within and said, okay, I'm doing the strategy part as well, but let me add design, because people would always come, you design this, you design that. I want you to get my Instagram to look like that. And I was like, okay, let me try to, I put it under one umbrella of branding, because when I looked at all the different skills I had, it definitely was what it took and what it will take someone to build a brand. So my research skills from UE still there, still here. My business skills from UE still there, but I just added some of me into it to really, and I think where I am right now is comfortable. I think it's what it was supposed to be from the start.
And how long did it take between when you started offering your services on your own, which is the business research, as you say?
Yeah.
How long did it take from there to when you got to this point where you actually reflected and
Yeah.
realized, okay, let me add the design, and then it kind of took a particular form. So
Yeah.
what was that period?
I think for about the first year, it was more of the research, and then I started to do web design, because that was always something that I loved to do. So I started to do the web design, and I was like, hey, I don't really like to design websites without everyone having their full brand identity, because your website kind of is an important part of your business. And so I was like, okay, I need to help them really understand what the website is and how they should really get the website out there to be a true reflection of their business. So I think that was the turning point when I started to do websites and realized that sometimes people don't have the content, people don't have the visual identity to get the website out there. So I started, okay, let me start to do this and offer this as a service. And then when I'm also a writer, it's like so many different things. I'm also a writer. So I was like, okay, let me write the content and offer that as well. And so basically that's how it kind of took form. So I'd say after the first year, it started to shape, and it really kind of formalized into this new structure about 2 years after the first 2 years.
Okay, cool. So going back to the question now in terms of the advice about the person who wants to
Yeah.
start a business, I'm thinking about someone specifically actually who is very active on my channel. And one of the things that she mentioned is last year. Well, she's been thinking about starting a business,
All right.
but she's not sure what she wants to do because she has different ideas. So she said that she started selling, I think, sweets and different things that she makes.
Okay.
But then I saw that she was also thinking about selling accessories
Mm-hmm.
and hair extensions. So she's thinking about different things and trying to figure out what I think
Yeah.
she wants to focus on in terms of her business.
Right.
And if somebody has multiple interests like that,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to narrow down, okay, I really want to do a business by a certain time, how
Right.
to focus and niche down and say,
And
okay,
so
let
what
me
they
focus
want to do.
on this at least for a period of time.
Okay. So I'll say definitely if they need to pick one, they need to try to determine which one is the most viable right now and which they could actually execute successfully. So if they have to choose, I'll say what's their actual long-term plan and which idea really fits into that plan. Which one do they think they could be successful at? Which one are they most passionate about? And then go to that direction. Because it doesn't make any sense you start a business and it's one that you're not passionate about. Because when you're passionate about what you're doing, it kind of drives you forward. So if that's the first business you're starting, then let it be one that you're really, really into and you have the resources, you know what it takes to execute the idea. And if you have the resources right now, you go in that direction.